I should have gotten my hat. Freaking hair's messed up. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another stream. Of course, it does say My Hero Academia stream at the top, and that is not a lie. This will be very My Hero Academia heavy, of a topic because it has to do with superhero comics. Comics versus manga, and this is what today's stream is all about. How the comic book industry is really falling behind and failing when it comes to manga and stuff like that. This is a very competitive, uh, competitive market when it comes to needing to get readers' attention, and the comic book industry just hasn't really done that, right? They haven't done their part. They're not really keeping up with what's going on. But we'll get into all of that discussion in just a second. Like I said, thanks for stopping by and stuff like that. Well, thanks for coming in. I shouldn't say stopping by because that means the stream is about to end. But yeah, I say like just a quick update on things. I have been working on some videos and stuff like that. I have because season 6 is right around the corner for My Hero Academia, and your boy is working on some season 6 content right now. I think the first season 6 content is going to drop in a couple days because that's the one I've been working on recently. It's going to be focused around Gigantomachia, so that whenever like all of that crazy stuff happens in the season, that will be able to already be seen because that will be coming out in a couple days. It's going to be basically explaining Gigantomachia, his quirks, and sort of his role in the series and stuff like that, like what he's done, and it's very interesting. I also plan on dropping a funny lore video over one specific character that kind of shows up in every arc, which is the newscaster. There is actual lore with that guy, so I do want to like go over that and talk about it in a video, just because I think it's interesting how a character that you would think is kind of small has some very interesting lore surrounding him. So that's basically what you guys should be looking forward to, or not you should be, but that's what's going to be coming out within like these next couple weeks. Like I said, season 6 is around the corner, so I'm kind of preparing for a lot of season 6 content that's going to be happening. Obviously, the anime versus manga series is going to be a thing during that season, so there's always going to be at least one video a week and one stream a week during that time. I know my schedule has been kind of hectic recently, where I've kind of not been dropping videos that much, but I've been preparing for season 6, so that's kind of why you see sort of a little less videos coming out as of right now. But that's pretty much the update on everything. Yes, there is legit lore when it comes to that newscaster. It's actually very interesting. And I do want to talk. It's going to be a short video because there's not much surrounding it, but the implications and stuff like that is what makes it interesting. But yeah, so that's the update. Let's get into the topic of today's stream. So this stream is all about the manga versus comics debate, how comic books have been failing and stuff like that, and how this sort of industry itself is kind of denying it at this point. Let's be honest here. Comic books have been sort of dying recently. I wouldn't say dying, because dying is like a really big word to use when it comes to certain things like this, because everybody says something is dying, right? Somebody's like, oh, Fortnite's dying or COD's dying, but the player base and stuff like that is still pretty good to where it's like, what are you talking about, right? So comics, I wouldn't say is necessarily dying, but comics, or the American comic book industry, has been sort of falling way behind, where it's kind of sad how they sort of cope with their failures. And there are tons of reasons why the comic book industry in America is failing, and why manga over here has been succeeding so much and has been thriving over here in America. And it's quite interesting, honestly. So if you are someone who is like me, who loves manga, who loves anime, but also loves his superhero comics, like American comic books, like Marvel and DC, which I will be using Marvel and DC mostly as examples throughout this stream because they have they're sort of the big comic book companies that you hear about the most. I mean, how many times do you hear like a Marvel movie is coming out? How many times do you hear that people are getting excited for a DC or a Marvel movie that's coming out, right? So it's very, it's very big over here, but the it's weird how like the comics are failing and lagging behind when it comes to that, right? So those will be my examples for this video. But if you are like me and you like both mediums, both different types of mediums when it comes to comic book superheroes, right? You can see from various news articles, titles, and stuff like that that they are sort of coping with their own failures that's going on, right? And it's very interesting because nobody in that industry seems to want to admit that they're failing or that they're falling behind when it comes to manga, right? And it's hilarious because then you'll have articles that are titled, "Oh, comic books are not dead; they are changing and thriving." Right? I'm staring at it right now. This is a CBR article. Wait, I believe it's the CBR. I don't want to get the two mixed up. Yeah, this is a CBR.com article, right? That has this title. But if you read through the title, right, it says like, "Oh, that it's changing. It's more diverse now than ever." But right, there's always that but in these articles where it's like, yes, manga is thriving a lot more, and over here in America, manga and comics, right, they're both considered the same thing. And yeah, I know CBR is kind of a joke sometimes, like some of their articles and stuff like that. But like I always say, when it comes to these types of media outlets, they are fantastic when it comes to news, but when it comes to like their own articles, their own hot takes and stuff like that, that's when things get really dicey because sometimes there's some misinformation being spread in there. I mean, how many times, like Geekdom 101, I watch his videos sometimes, and he'll make videos discussing CBR articles and how they have a lot of misinformation in it. Oh, I'm sorry, I just smacked my desk. How they have a lot of misinformation in it. And you could honestly just look at any other anime or comic book YouTube channel, right? And if they make a CBR video or just they discuss one of these media outlets, that you'll see how much like misinformation when it comes to like their own type of topics or their own hot takes, right? That's just spread in those articles. But when it comes to like news and stuff like that, they're definitely good. But here in this article, right, going back to the topic, they tend to be softening the blow that's going on, right? They're promoting they're kind of promoting like these these very small indie comics and stuff like that, how people are excited for it, but they're like, hey, but manga are comics, and they have been thriving over here. There's been a big boom in sales when it comes to manga and stuff like that. And when you look at sales charts over here, manga is typically counted in the same category as comics. So when manga thrives, it's seen as both are thriving, which that isn't the case, right? You'll see that a lot of these articles tend to be like, manga or comics aren't dead, they're thriving. But that's not what's happening, right? These sales that are being counted for manga are counted as comic sales. So it looks like, both are doing the same amount of numbers. But when you actually look at actual sales, individual sales, or just sales in Japan, right? You'll see that these mangas are selling a butt ton, right? They're selling a butt ton of comics, and manga, should I say, right? They're selling a butt ton of manga, and over here they're doing the same amount of numbers, if not even more, just because America is a bigger place, right, compared to Japan, right? So they're selling even more, and then even in the top like 10 of like graphic novels that are being sold, right? Almost 90% or 80% of that top 10 is filled with manga like Demon Slayer, uh, My Hero Academia, and whatever, like, Chainsaw Man, right? Whatever sort of comics, um, whatever sort of like manga that you like is most likely up there, right? Even Spy X Family was selling a butt ton, right? And that isn't even necessarily superhero related like how it is over here in the West, where a lot of the comic book industry or a lot of these comic book companies are superhero related, right? So why is this happening? And why has comics been failing in this industry? And why is manga winning so much? And there are plenty of reasons for it. Now, there is a very political side to things, but I'm going to take things not very political. I say it all the times. I don't want to get political about, what's good, what's bad. I don't care what anybody thinks, right? If you are a more political person when it comes to, like, your gender, or your sexuality and stuff like that, that is perfectly fine. We're not going to get into that. I'm not going to say, this is bad because of that. I'm not going to say this is bad because of this, right? That's totally separate. There are tons of different reasons that have nothing to do with, politics, that are reasons on why comics in America have been failing so hard. And I'm going to sort of list them off right now. So the first thing I do want to talk about is anime. So anime, and this does relate into comic books, and obviously the live action movies. But anime, when you look at manga, right, and you see that there's an anime out for it, the anime typically is promoting that manga. So when a season ends and stuff like that, and you're enjoying that season, you want more. You're like, wow, I can't wait a whole year or 2 years just to see what happens next, just so I could wait for another season to come out, like a season 3 or something like that, right? And this is one of why this is like some of the smartest ways of promotion, because that's what happened to me, right? In the first 3 seasons of My Hero Academia, I waited patiently. I wasn't really a manga reader back then, and this was like what, around 2016 to 2018, right? I wasn't really a manga reader. And when I was watching the My Hero Academia anime, and I love superheroes and stuff like that, so it really caught my eye. I was watching the My Hero Academia anime. We made it to season 3. As soon as season 3 ended, I couldn't wait any longer. I was like, yo, I need to see what is going on in this manga. I already know that there's plenty of pages, plenty of chapters that have been released for this series, and since the anime is following exactly what is going on in the manga, then I can just pick up where I left off in the anime and then continue reading. And this is gonna like go into a different topic. Voice crack. This is going to go into a different topic, but I'm not gonna really try and get to there yet, because it's literally the next topic right after this. But I could just pick up exactly where I left off in the anime into the manga. It's an easy transition, right? The anime is used to promote the manga. You could do that with anything. I use My Hero Academia as an example because that's legit what happened to me. I became a manga reader and I started buying all of the manga, even what I've already seen in the anime, right? I bought from, like, all of that back there is manga. There's like 2 sections right there of just straight My Hero Academia manga. And I am like invested in this series because of it. I and I'm stuttering, I'm messing up. But there's also an added benefit when you do buy the manga or when you do read the manga, because not only are you getting, a jump start on things that's to come, but you also get a lot of bonus information, a lot of extra artwork. You get a lot of just extra information and world building that isn't in the story yet, or the creator or Horikoshi hasn't had the time to really fill in those gaps or put in that information into the actual story. And I'm talking about the omake and the extra pages that you find within My Hero Academia. If I just take one of these books, I'm not going to take the one that has a Funko Pop on it because then it'll fall, right? let's see. Let's see if I could find a omake real quick, right? So this right here, well, I'm showing it correctly. I have to watch. Yeah, see, this. Well, this is I believe is an extra page or the start of the chapter, but this right here is an omake. You get a ton of little information, extra information when you go to these pages, and it's awesome. You know, right? You get to understand the characters more. You get to know what exactly who you're reading about and stuff like that, and it's just fun little tidbits of information that you can get through those extra pages that you don't necessarily get when it comes to comic books. So, and another thing that on why this is like such a really good way to promote things, right, is because when you look at the other side of the fence, they don't do that, right? When you look at comic books, they're always adapted very, very differently. When you watch the TV shows, the cartoon TV shows, like let's say Spectacular Spider-Man, right? They adapt stories from the comics, but they're not one for one, right? They're not like, oh, you know, I'm gonna have to wait a whole season to see the next arc that got teased at the end at the season finale, right? No, right? Because it's going to be totally different from that whole thing. You don't need to necessarily buy the comics to know what's going to happen next, because that's not what they're doing. They're not doing a direct adaptation. Yes, they're doing direct adaptations of certain storylines, but they change up these storylines in many different ways. And there's a reason for it. That's because there are like hundreds and thousands of different writers for each series, and it's hard to follow, right? Comics are very hard to follow when it comes to that. And that was kind of like the other topic I was talking about that I didn't want to get into just yet, but let's like backtrack a little bit, right? Well, don't worry, I'll get to like the comics are hard to follow in a second. But yeah, comics are very hard to follow when it comes to that. And even like with the live action movies that are going on, they're not one for one. And I'm not saying that things have to be one for one for you to enjoy a whole different section of that same media. I'm just saying, like, hey, you know, it doesn't make me want to go read what's going to be coming up next, or it's not making me want to go and sort of buy these comics and enjoy these comics, because I'm already enjoying the movies. I'm already enjoying the TV show. Why do I need to buy these comics to know something that might happen, right? There are so many different storylines, and none of them are guaranteed to really come to the big screen or make it onto a TV show. And you don't want to really invest your time into that, especially when you might not, you know, get a return on it, right? So that's kind of like one of the things that deter people from wanting to pick up a comic book, because they're not following anything. I love the MCU movies, but none of the comics have anything to do with the MCU characters, right? I'm not getting that incentive of I need to keep following this story that I've been following for years already. I'm watching all of the MCU movies, but I can't get any comics that relate to it, right? So I'm not going to buy comics that, even though they have the same exact characters in it, it's not following the story that I'm enjoying right now. And I guess that's what I was trying to say the whole time, which I guess it took me a little bit to actually get those words out of my mouth. But I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say when it comes to that, right? But going back to the whole comics are very hard to follow, right? And what I mean by that is that not only do you have like thousands of different storylines, and you know, comics have been around for a very, very long time, and some of the creators have not moved on, well, passed away, and you know, they're not going to be there to create more stories all the time. So there are going to be new writers, there's going to be new artists, and every writer has a different take on certain characters. And so like every time a new writer has a different take on a certain character, that might as well be a new character in itself, right? A new version of this same character. So it's like the guy I was following last time that had a great storyline probably got his storyline retconned with this new writer, right? And that happens all the time, believe it or not. new writers tend to retcon what old writers have set up, so that way they can tell their story the way they want. And it sucks because it's like, well, now I'm not invested in this anymore because now I have to wait for this character to get this certain character development back again, and they might not get that character development back for a long time because this writer just retconned a whole bunch of years worth of development. And that's what kind of sucks about comics, right? It's hard to follow in that regard, but that's not the only way or the only reason or whatever you want to say on why it's very hard to follow. There are so many storylines that there is no like good continuity to follow, right? There's when you look at manga, I love this topic because I love manga, but I love the way manga is set up, right? Because when you look at manga, it's so simple. It's so I have to whip out one of these bad boys again. I should just keep this by my side, right? But when you look at manga, if you look at the spine column, they're numbered, right? They're numbered. So you can easily pick up if you did the me, right? If you were an anime watcher and you wanted to transition to manga, you could easily pick up where the manga or where the anime left off by looking at the volume and seeing the contents inside, right? So if you want to start at the beginning of the series, hey, pick up volume 1, right? That's where things start off. And yes, certain mangas or anime franchises, right? They do have like a manga 0, like Jujutsu Kaisen, right? Jujutsu Kaisen 0, right? There's a legit manga of Jujutsu Kaisen that has a 0, and it didn't start at 1 because it was something that was made later, but it was technically a prequel to the thing. And the one I'm showing right now is a prequel, and it's counted as its own separate sort of numbering, right? So if you want to start at a series, any series, when it comes to manga, you start at volume 1. Now, this is why comics are hard to follow. When you go to the comic side of things, there are so many flimsy paperback pages and comics that they're not numbered at all. Yes, they have Spider-Man 100 or Spider-Man 300, right? Or you'll have some Spider-Man number 1s, but that'll be different alternate universes of Spider-Mans, right? But they're not necessarily numbered in a way that manga is, where hey, I can legit start here and I'll be straight. I'll be able to follow the story along with it, right? So, but these comics don't have a number. If you want to start with a certain Spider-Man comic, you need to go and search up what sort of series is good to start at. Where should I pick up the Spider-Man series at? And that's so like draining in a way, right? Why do I need to go to Google to search up what good Spider-Man comics should I pick up? Where should I start off as a beginner reader? It shouldn't be where should I start off. It should be let me go to Barnes and Nobles and pick up volume 1, right? And yeah, you can sort of do that with comics because they do have omnibuses where it's just a big ass compilation of a lot of comics from certain eras, right? And you can do that, but it's still not cohesive enough where it's like, hey, if I pick up this Spider-Man series, but it eventually leads into an X-Men thing, and I have to read that X-Men thing to continue following what this Spider-Man storyline I'm watching, but then that Spider-Man goes into a Fantastic Four, and then I have to go pick up this Fantastic Four series just so I can understand and keep following what Spider-Man is doing, right? It's so confusing when it comes to that. But with a My Hero Academia that has 2 different kinds of series, right? A prequel and the main story. I could just start at 1. All I need to do is start at 1, and then if I keep reading, or if I'm reading both at the same time, right? You can spot some similarities or some callbacks or some Easter eggs, right, in each themes, and it's so simple to follow. But comics, they're not, right? They're not. I have to go to Spider-Man 1, then X-Men 1 or X-Men 50, and then go to Fantastic Four 300, right? Just so I could keep following this one Spider-Man storyline that I'm trying to keep up with. And that's how it kind of is. Even though there has been a series like the Ultimate Spider-Man series where I believe that was written by one person entirely and it had that one vision, right? There was still times where in that Spider-Man storyline you needed to go to a different comic book to further understand what was going on with Spider-Man and what developments he was going to get. And that is just exhausting. And honestly, it manga just makes it a lot more easier. It's a lot more friendlier when it comes to newcomers. If you're a newcomer getting into comic books, good luck, honestly. Good luck. But there's also another thing that comes with why manga is just winning right now. And that is the whole one person is behind the whole entire manga. Like how I kind of just like said not too long ago, actually, like a couple seconds ago, right? Manga, when you look at manga or when you look at different franchises when it comes to anime and manga, right? That is created by basically one person throughout the entire run. One person is writing this entire series by themselves, whether it's a man or woman. But in the case of Horikoshi, right, he's the one creative mind that's behind it. Yes, he does have editors that tell him, hey, maybe this isn't good at this moment, or hey, maybe we shouldn't put that in there yet, right? He has editors that do help him out, but he is basically the only one creating this entire thing. And so when you read My Hero Academia, you're not really worried about the next person sort of retconning things. But when you pick up a comic book and you like reading the Ultimate Spider-Man series, well, the Amazing Spider-Man series that comes way later is written by somebody else, and all of his development from Ultimate Spider-Man, or well, actually Ultimate Spider-Man is in its own universe, but you get what I'm saying, right? If you pick up a different Spider-Man that is written in the same universe and you enjoyed the storyline from one guy, and then you pick up a different storyline that is written by a totally different person, they will retcon some of the things that happened in the last storyline. And it's like, wow, why did I even pick this up if they're going to ruin this character, or if they're going to change the character that already had good development going on? It's kind of like how Spider-Man got married, and then there was I think there was like the last day or something. It was something like that. I don't really know everything about comic books, but it's like there was a certain comic book where he like went to Mephisto, and he got his marriage taken away in exchange for Aunt May's life, right? And everybody hated it because it just undid years and years of Spider-Man's development and stuff like that, and people hated that, right? So, but with manga, and when it comes to like Horikoshi and stuff like that, you're not really worried about some other random ruining something that you enjoyed, or retconning or setting things back. You're gonna get a cohesive story from start to finish. Whether or not they fumble the bag in the end, it doesn't matter, right? At least you're gonna get the story that they wanted to tell through the beginning to end, for the most part, right? Because there are sometimes Shueisha or Shonen Jump kind of like meddle in a little bit too much, and sometimes the ending of the series could Shueisha and Shonen, I think they're the same person. Well, and Kodansha, I meant Kodansha and Shonen Jump, right? Sometimes they might meddle in, and then you'll have a messed up ending or a botched ending for a series. But that happens sometimes, or for some, a lot of times, right? But that's how it is. You're not gonna get a different story. You're gonna get the same story. You're gonna get a cohesive story from beginning to end. Now, a thing that's kind of happened recently, a lot recently, when it comes in another L for comics, right, is the writing. The writing in comic books nowadays are just not the same, right? back then it was a lot more character driven, and now it's really not. And like I said, I'm not gonna get political because this is probably where a lot of people would try and get political with it, but I'm just not going to do that. Um, it's just that there's a lot of bad writing. All right, so instead of just me telling you, I'm going to give you examples, right? So recently, the most recent thing that's happened has been a what if series called What If Miles Morales Was X Superhero, right? So it would be like, what if Miles Morales was a Hulk? What if Miles Morales was a Spider-Man? Nah, he is a Spider-Man. But it'll be like, what if Miles Morales was Thor? And that's the one that we're going to be talking about right now. And it kind of really took a very stereotypical and racy, I say racy, I mean, you know what I mean, like a little racist, right? It took a little stereotypical route where since Miles is an Afro-Latino, and I guess they wanted to use a lot of black stereotypes, right? He's Thor. There's graffiti everywhere. He calls Asgard his hood, and he basically says by Odin's fade or some shit like that, right? It was goofy, and it was very like harmful, and it offended me. I'm not gonna lie, I got offended. I was like, yo, what the heck is this? Like, that's so stereotypical, right? For an Afro Latino to be talking like if he was like, this super ghetto person or something like that. And it's like, wow, Marvel, do you think like all black people or all Hispanics are have this sort of level of ghetto-ness to them that if they become superheroes, they're going to immediately call where they live my hood, my this is my hood, this is by my fade and stuff like that. It's so cringy to think about. I'm sweating a little bit. That's how you know I'm passionate. But now I'm joking. It's super hot. But it was very cringy, and at the same time it was kind of offensive. And I'm someone who doesn't necessarily get offended easily, right? I'm not I sadly I am a part of Gen Z, but I'm not like one of those Gen Zers that get offended on behalf of everybody or get offended when something is said, right? I kind of like stereotypes, especially when it comes to my people, because I think it's funny, but that's just me, right? But like it was kind of offensive, right? Marvel is this big company. They're always like down for diversity and stuff like that, but they make a comic like what if Miles Morales was Thor, and it's kind of bad, right? It's kind of racist, and it's kind of like very stereotypical when it comes to brown, black, and Afro Latinos, right? It's kind of messed up. so when you have a comic like that, it's like, I don't want to pick that up. I don't want to read that. Why would I want to read that? Like, you're kind of making fun of us, right? So it's like, I don't want that. I hate that, right? And that's kind of what I mean by bad writing in comics. Like, these people who are writing for Marvel and DC now kind of don't have it within them to write these sort of stories. And then you have and oh my god, I lost my train of thought for a second. And continuing on with like the bad writing thing, right? When you're reading some of these comics, they don't leave much up for interpretation anymore. Back then, when something happened or when something was going down, it would be like, hey, we're gonna let you make a decision on what's going on here, or we're going to we're gonna give you these two different sides, these two different viewpoints, and we're gonna let you, the reader, sort of pick where you stand. We're not gonna tell you what to think. So, these are the arguments here, and this is, you decide what is right, what is wrong. You interpret what is going on here. They don't do that anymore. Nowadays, they sort of just outright tell you how to think, or they outright just tell you what's going on, right? There's nothing really left up to interpretation anymore. I believe there was this one comic panel or page where it was about bullying, and it was just like, bullying's bad. And then there was this very long page of speech bubbles and words, and then the only thing like that was actually colored and shown in there is like somebody talking down to another person, which was like a kid or something like that, and telling them that, hey, this is not good, this, that, and the third. And yes, bullying is not good and stuff like that, but you don't really get to see the two different sides of anything. It's just, hey, this character's kind of a dick, and that's it. But you don't understand why they are like the way they are or anything like that. That's what I mean. Nothing's left up to interpretation. You just like, hey, this person's bad, so we're gonna use him as an example of why people like that are bad. And it's just, it's not fun. It's not fun. When it comes to My Hero Academia, when it comes to manga or any sort of anime series, you could just put, I know I'm using My Hero Academia, but you could use any sort of anime series you want when it comes to this. There are so many things left up for interpretation, right? Bakugo, for example, which I haven't really realized this until I saw a Twitter post about it, and I'm going to definitely make a video discussing this. But Bakugo, when you look at Bakugo in the beginning of the series, yes, he was a bully. Yes, he was very mean to Deku, right? But he never really doubted that he could get into UA. And I know that might be like a hot or a spicy little hot take right there, or a spicy little topic to talk about, because a lot of people like to say that, oh, well, he kind of did like not want him to go, or he knew he couldn't go because he was quirkless. But when you think about it, he wasn't surprised that Deku got into UA, right? When Deku got into UA and when Bakugo saw him, he assumed he was quirkless the whole time. He didn't think that Deku out of nowhere was going to manifest a quirk, right? But in the beginning of the series, he doesn't necessarily say, hey, you can't get into it. It's like, oh, do you think you can compete with me? Especially someone who doesn't have a quirk and stuff like that. He was like trying to, in a way, discourage him from going in there. And we kind of learn later on that that's kind of what he was doing, because he was kind of jealous of Deku and his abilities. So, hey, when you're jealous of someone and their abilities, you don't really want them to be with you. You don't really want them to go to the same spot as you are, or you don't necessarily want them to succeed. And that's kind of what happened, right? That's how we sort of see things unfolding within the series. But in the beginning of the series, he never said that, he never really doubted that he could make it into UA. Right? So there's so many things that are left up to interpretation that we don't necessarily get to find out or understand or get the full scope of until very much later on in the series. But when it comes to Marvel, when it comes to DC, they don't let those sort of things build up. They sort of just tell you right away, like, hey, this is that and that is this. So that kind of sucks, right? And it's why I believe like a lot of the readers and like all of these reasons that I listed out are the main reasons why I believe the comic book industry is really taking a hit and tanking very hard. Now, like I said earlier, they are really like coping and softening the blow of what has been going on in their own industry, because like I said, manga and comics are sort of counted in the same category, which is like graphic novels and stuff like that. And the success of mangas, or when you see tons of people buying mangas and stuff like that, it's sort of counted as both. So the comic book industry is like, hey, this is a win for us, right? When it's really not, because it's sad, right? But when there's also a different sort of sale chart that goes on within comics. And that's like they'll say, hey, we sold this many copies of this, but in reality that's not true. Those sales and that sale chart that they kind of like try and show off are sales to comic book stores. And that's not really individual sales. They'll be like, hey, we sold 50,000 copies of this, but that was 50,000 copies going to different sort of comic book retailers, and that's not necessarily sales. Yes, they made money off of that, but they're not that's not legitly what a lot of people are going to buy, right? What a lot of people buy in comic books nowadays are older comics, or like reprints of older comics. They don't necessarily buy a lot of the new stuff anymore, and that's kind of depressing. When manga, a lot of people buy new manga. A lot of people try out new manga. When Doctor Stone first came out, I was like, "Yo, this cover looks awesome. I'm going to check it out." I didn't even need to like get any background information on Doctor Stone. I didn't need an anime to sort of make me want to read it. I thought it looked cool, and I trusted that since this was published, that it was going to be somewhat decent. I read the summary on the back, and I bought it. When it comes to comics, I have to look at what I want. I can't just go pick out, see something looks interesting on the front, and then be like, hey, I want this. Because chances are, the writing inside isn't all that great. But when it comes to manga, I don't need to doubt them, right? I don't need to doubt what is on the shelves. Maybe it's not for me, but hey, I'll still give it a shot, right? Like, hey, I'll give it a shot. There's so much variety when it comes to that, right? Like I said, Doctor Stone isn't necessarily like a fighting or superhero thing. Spy X Family isn't either. But the main selling point for a lot of the comic book industry in America is superheroes. You don't get a lot of these different sort of comics anymore when it comes to the American comic book industry. But with Shonen Jump, with manga, there are varieties. I love me some romance, right? I love romance animes. I love, the romantic comedy animes, and I love those sort of things. I have a couple of those mangas. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's variety. There's that manga promotion. There's that anime to manga promotion. There's the good writing. There's always that one mind that's behind just one manga. I don't need to worry about any other author picking up this same series and changing a lot of things. At least for the most part, right? Because sometimes when manga gets sequels and stuff like that, they tend to hand them off to like a different author, or the original author hands them off to somebody trusted, and that can sort of happen. But typically the same author is still in charge of it, right? They still look over what's going on. But you don't get that. You don't get any of that. Any of the things I've said, any of the praises I've said about manga, you get none of that from the comic book industry at all. You don't get none of that. Everything that's bad about comic books today, you get none of that in manga. Yes, yeah, well, the bad writing, yes, there's bad writing in manga sometimes, for certain series and stuff like that. But like I'm saying, for the most part, you don't get that, right? You don't get a lot of the negatives that I've said about American comic books in manga, and that's kind of like why this sort of industry, this comic book industry, is losing to manga. And it's crazy, right? These are American comics. You would think that with comics that are made here in America, they would thrive the most than manga or comics that came from somewhere out to the west or east. My fault. To the east, right? You would think that, but that's not how it works, or that's not how we're seeing things working out. Instead, manga and the East are winning when it comes to us, right? Manga, well, I shouldn't say us because I'm more Team East anyways, right? But when it comes to the U.S., they're losing hard. They're losing in their own home, which is the saddest part. But it's still cool to see like crossovers and stuff like that happen. Like I said, I'm a big fan of Marvel. I'm a big fan of DC. And I'm a big fan of My Hero Academia. But with the way things are going now, with the way the negatives are sort of affecting things, I'm not really a fan anymore when it comes to certain things, like certain Marvel projects or certain DC projects, right? And what's crazy is that despite them failing, and I'm not saying like the whole industry itself is failing, because Spider-Man and Marvel, Spider-Man and Batman still do very, very well. They still sell very, very well when it comes to, their comic books. But let's be honest here. Is it because they sell well off of good writing and stuff like that? Or do they sell well because of their name? The name and the weight that it carries. So that's just something to sort of think about, right? And that's kind of all I have when it comes to this topic. And that might just be the end of the stream too, because honestly, I don't have anything else prepared like for afterwards. I thought it was gonna be longer, but that's kind of like all I have to say about this topic. I think it's sad, but at the same time, I do think with this competition, Marvel, DC, or just the comic book industry in general are going to try and change things and give that competition, right? There's nothing better than competition because that makes the others strive to be better or strive to do good or, keep up. And I'm hoping that's what's going to happen, but we'll see, right? We'll see. I know I kind of like stuttered and like lost track of things that I was saying and stuff like that through the stream. I do apologize. I was kind of messing up and stuff like that, but that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. But yeah, okay, let's read some chats, see what the heck is going on. I want to know what your guys' opinions on all of this, or just everybody's opinions on all of this has been. I'm gonna try and search up some topics in the meantime, so that way we can at least get like an hour in of streaming. And yeah, let's read this chat. So all right, let's see what's popping. What's up, Giovanni? Cool beans. Comics went woke and gone broke. Like I said, I'm not gonna get political, but maybe, I don't know. Nero, Chad Kidoroki, Giovanni. I had a similar experience with JJK and My Hero Academia. I have too many JJK volumes. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about when I was saying like I was an anime watcher first and then a manga reader later. Yeah. That's how it kind of is. It's kind of like a trap if you really think about it, right? You're watching the anime and stuff like that, and then you're like, oh, I need more. I'm scratching my neck and stuff like that. Like it's an addiction, and then you go out, you buy one, and then somehow like in a month later you have a stack. It's insane. I don't regret it at all. Like I'm a huge fan. I got my Funkos there and stuff like that. I have my little canvas board right there that has I believe volume 29 painting on it, right? I love everything My Hero Academia, and I don't regret anything because like I said, I enjoy all the little tidbits of lore that we get through those extra pages, and it was worth it, honestly, because there are some slight differences between the anime and manga that I enjoy massively that you just don't get with the anime. And like I said, with the whole comics versus manga debate or manga topic, right? You don't get that anywhere else, honestly. Like I love the fact that this sort of like medium exists where, hey, even though I love watching the anime, I could just pick up the manga and I will still get the same things that I saw plus more with these extra pages, a bunch of extra content. It's like getting a Blu-ray and then seeing the special features, right? Like those are the Blu-rays. Those are all my Blu-rays, and in all of those mangas and all of those volumes, there's a bunch of special features in there, which I enjoy heavily. I love it. Like I said, I don't regret making none of those purchases. I love all of them, especially even like my more sussy wussy purchases of manga. Which I guess if you want to know, because I know somebody might ask, I guess my most sussy wussy purchase, I'll stop saying that, honestly, would be is Miss Nagatoro, right? I like reading that. I think it's funny. I like watching the anime too. I think they're funny. I think it's funny. But let's see. The One Piece is real. Oh god. Oh god, nah. If I had to go collect One Piece manga, I'd probably die. I'd probably go in debt. I'd probably go in debt with One Piece manga. That's insane. Yeah, I'll stick to the anime with that one, but yeah, you won't catch me lacking with a One Piece manga unless somebody like gives it to me. That's the only time you'll catch me with a One Piece manga. I swear. I like One Piece. I love One Piece. I love the story, but you won't catch me with a manga just because that's way too much. That's way too much. I'm not gonna reread all that. You kidding? You joking? Hell no. See, I love the My Hero Academia spinoff. Actually, me too. I think it's very, very good, especially for a prequel series, like and a spinoff. A lot of prequels and sequels and stuff like that don't really get a lot of the same love as the original series, but Vigilantes does get that same sort of love. Yes, not a lot of the people who read the main My Hero Academia story really reads Vigilantes or knows about Vigilantes, but I swear when the anime for this thing comes out, it's going to hit different. We're gonna see so many new fans, so many people enjoying this series, so many like. I'm pretty sure these copies. There's going to be a lot more of these copies in rotation. Not just this, but like the first, the volume 1. There's going to be so many of that in rotation when that anime comes out. And like I said, I know some people might be skeptical on why I'm saying the anime is coming out, but there has been that leak that came out a while back that Bones was working on a new anime, and that's probably what their Studio C is working on. And because Studio C has been working on movies and stuff like that, and since a movie didn't get announced yet this year, or hasn't been announced, or is probably not going to be announced this year, we might see some Vigilantes. We might see a Vigilantes anime get announced during season 6 and stuff like that, or even after season 6. We might see something go down. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not guaranteeing or confirming anything, but because I don't have access like that, but like I'm pretty sure we might get something big when it comes to Vigilantes soon. Even though it's ended already, we might get an anime soon. I'm banking on it. I'm banking on it. If we get a Smash anime, if we get a My Hero Academia Smash anime, I'm going to cry. I'm going to delete the channel. Like that's how bad I don't want that to happen. Like I want a Vigilantes anime. I want more people to enjoy that. Let's see. Manga is regularly easy to get into and to understand what's happening. Yeah, that's true. Like I said, you look at the spine, you look at the spinal column, you look at the spine or whatever, you see a 1, 6, 7 or whatever. You could easily pick out where you want to start off, or if you want to get into it for the first time, start at volume 1. It's that simple. It's that simple. Why does comics make things hard? Why do they make things hard? I hate that. Let's see. I agree with you and Nero. Comics can be really tough to get into if you're not familiar with the different series, like DC's New 52 and universes. I tried and failed at getting into comics. Yeah, getting into comics is very hard nowadays. I feel like they probably just need a whole hard reset, or at least do what the Deadpool manga did, right? Just outsource it. Give it to, you know what? You might as well just give it to the East because they're destroying everything in the West. You might as well. But nah, I'm joking. But like probably have just one person, contract them for to hold it down for at least a good amount of years, and to tell one good story with one character that features other characters that they can bring in anytime they want. I think that would be an amazing thing to see coming out of the comic book industry, like sort of manga-esque, where it's like, hey, one person is behind this, so it's going to be their vision throughout, and we could sort of get that with a comic, but we haven't gotten that in so long. When's the last time that happened? I think the only example I know about is Ultimate Spider-Man, where that one person, and I'm sorry, I don't know the authors like that, because there's so many, but like, one person was working on that, like, for a good amount of time. So it I just hope that DC and Marvel can sort of get their act together when it comes to something like that, because I'm gonna be honest, to me that's kind of a deal breaker now. Like I want my comics or my mangas to have just that one mind behind it. I don't want like 50 different minds behind it where I have to worry about something getting retconned. That it's just annoying, right? I don't need that sort of level of stress when I'm trying to get lost in these worlds. I need that escape. I need that escape. I don't need to be worrying about 50 different people writing my comic, right? That's why I love my Hero Academia. Horikoshi, the Gochi, right? Horikoshi. But let's see. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I love manga, but at this point, I gave up at trying to find the first issue and just pick up what's interesting to you, or to me. Not saying it's better, but damn, The what if ain't cutting it. Yeah, the what if Thor, what if Miles Morales was Thor was I have no words, honestly. That was just bad. It was just bad. It was awful. I got a topic. Let's rate ships. Ooh. Nah, you're crazy for that one, Nero. You're crazy for that one because you might get me in trouble with that one. I can't rate ships. I think I already gave my opinion on ships and stuff like that. And one thing, but that's coming from a ship degenerate. Oh, you love doing ships and stuff like that. I see you. I see. I understand why you gave that topic now. God bless having a job, no regrets. God bless having a job, no regrets either. Yep, true. So let's see. That's pretty much all the chat that's gone down. I'm gonna try and find something else to talk about because I'm sorry, Nero, but I can't do ships, man. Ships will get me messed up. I mean, if a quick ship moment here. That I already said before that I'm a real big fan of Izuku getting with Ochako. I think that's pretty dope. But I want to see All Might get with Deku's mom. I want to see All Might get with Deku's mom. I originally I was a big advocate. I wouldn't say advocate because I'm not that very vocal on Twitter on how I personally feel with Giovanni, you fried my brain when you said that. I'm not gonna lie, Deku and Rhodey. That's funny. That's funny. That's cute, but it's funny. I was a real big advocate, and like I said, I'm not very vocal on. Hey, what's up, God? It was good. I'm not very vocal when it comes to like how I feel about certain ships and stuff like that, or very spicy hot topics or hot takes on the internet. But I did really like the idea of All Might and Midnight. I don't know. All Might and Midnight was something that I thought was cool because of the joint training arc, how they sort of acted together and stuff like that. And I believe in one of the school briefs not mangas, the light novels, right? There is a moment with not a moment with them, but I believe that like All Might went out drinking with Aizawa, Present Mike, and I think Midnight showed up eventually and stuff like that, and 13 was there. If I'm remembering correctly, right, they were all there. And I think like I don't know, just them as a group and especially that one episode where it's like fighting the world with love. I think that would have been cool. Like they sort of had like a weird chemistry. I don't know. I think like All Might and Midnight had like a good chemistry together. And yes, I know All Might is like mad old, but I mean, Midnight's a baddie, so. And I'm pretty sure Midnight wouldn't even be against it. I think there was like one point she like kind of like found him attractive, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. I'm not saying that's legit, but I'm not sure. But yeah, and even like I thought Aizawa or Present Mike and Midnight would look good. Like Present Mike and Midnight and Aizawa Midnight and stuff like that. Like I would say a gay ship, but some of the characters don't really give me those vibes and stuff like that, right? Like it's like, oh, I could see them definitely looking good together. I think the one group of characters that kind of give me that vibe is Mirio and Sun Eater. like Mirio and Sun Eater kind of give me that vibe. It's like I don't know, you little zesty boys, But well, yeah, that I was talking about Nero. I know she died, but I'm saying like back then before she passed away, I thought they would be okay, like they would be good together. But yeah, I'm still more of a All Might and Deku's mom. I like Aizawa and Miss Joke. That's a good one. Kamui Woods and Mount Lady is interesting too, because there's that whole rumor within the world itself, within the My Hero world, that they're actually like doing things together, like dating and stuff like that. And Midnight tries to keep it all hush hush, but we don't necessarily know because it hasn't been confirmed by Mount Lady or anything like that. So we don't know if her and Camel Woods are actually like a thing. It's kind of weird how like shipping from like real life and then there's shipping that's actually canon within like the series. It's cool. It's fun. Like I said, I'm not a very big shipper or anything like that. I don't like talking about ships because it comes with a lot of drama, especially if like the wrong people are involved or if the wrong group of people see what you're talking about, then they kind of get heated. But if anything, like I do think the ships that I said or some of my favorite ones. I don't necessarily ship the kids all that often, just because I'm an adult, but like I do think like hey like certain like teenage characters or class 1A class 1B characters, I'm like hey they would look good together. like I'm kind of like an old man when it comes to like that, like you young whippersnappers, I think you look cute, right? That's how I kind of think about them. But typically when I see ships, I'm mostly like looking at the pro heroes just because I think pro heroes look good, right? Hawks and Mirko, that was one of my favorite ships. I love that ship actually. At one point when I didn't know the age of Toga, I thought Toga and Twice would have made for a good ship, but then when I found out her age, I was like, ooh, Twice. Twice, I almost set you up for failure. But but ships aside, not talking about ships, but going on to like Twice and Toga, I do love their relationship. I that big sister and like big sister, like big brother and little sister thing that they have together. It's one of my favorite relationships in the series. That it's kind of sad to see it go, and which is why I'm very excited for what's going to be going on in the war and how we could see sort of like how Twice's death affected why my glasses are so like crooked, bro. I know probably somebody noticed that and got annoyed with it, but my glasses are just naturally like that. But like I was saying, I can't wait to see how like that sort of gets resolved, because we know Ochako and Toga are going to be going at it, and that's mainly what's going to be a talking point during that fight. So I'm excited to see what goes on with that. Deku X Ochako is best ship, definitely. Leave that bromance alone. Ship Bakugo and Kirishima rot my brain. People that want to ship. Oh, yeah. I honestly think they're just really good friends, but that's just me. Deku X Inko is what? 51% chance no way, God. No way. You can't just say that, man. No, now I have to end the stream. Nah, I'm joking. But like, oh my goodness, that's a hot take. I've already said it in my conspiracy theory. It's conspiracy theory. The conspiracies stream. People do take shipping way too far, or they take it way too seriously, and there are some, like the way you said Deku X Inko and stuff like that, and how you said I get you were joking, but like there are some weird ships out there, like Eri X All Might or Eri X Deku or Bakugo, right? That's kind of unsettling. Like you have a traumatized little girl, or you have either a grown ass old ass man like All Might, or you have her saviors basically like Deku or Mirio or like Bakugo, like people she looks up to and probably could take advantage of her, right? It's so dirty. I don't know why. Like I remember when that first like came out, like the Deku X Eri or Eri X All Might thing came out, like I got sick to my stomach. Not like physically or actually, but like more like metaphorically. Like I got sick to my stomach because it was just like, why? Like it was just like I was just baffled mostly because I was like, why? Why is that a ship? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Deku X female Shigaraki is better. Oh my god. I did have a video idea. I love how we're just at this point we're just talking. We're not even talking about anything anymore. But I did have a video idea at one point where I was going to make. It was like, what your My Hero Academia ship says about you, and it was gonna be like in like 3 words or less type of thing. That I had a video idea like that. I was going to do it, but I was so scared to do it because of how people would react to certain ships that I said. Because I believe there was like I have it written down. I still have it written down in like my Google Docs, but there was one that I said it was like uh Deku X Baku Deku, right? And I was gonna be like toxic, but then after that I was going to say like uh Deku X Ochako, right? It was gonna be toxic again, like like both toxic, and I was scared because. But when you look online, when you look on Twitter, if you say anything bad about either of those ships, it's war. Well, I'd say mostly when it comes to like the Baku Dekus and the Kiri Bakus, right? I think that's kind of like when war really starts. But if I feel like if people understood more of my sense of humor, and I don't really put my sense of humor in the videos all that much because I like to kind of be semi serious and sort of explain things properly so that way people understand, because I want people to understand and get informed about the series more than enjoy, like not enjoy. I want people to enjoy themselves. I want people to love the videos and stuff like that. But I do want, like, I don't know if I'm explaining it correctly, but I want to keep the comedies separate, right? For the most part, there's some videos that I do want to, like, joke around in and stuff like that. But like that, this would have been that one video where like I would have gotten like sort of my sense of humor out there, but I think people wouldn't understand because I'm not really that vocal or have my sense of humor out there that much, that they probably might think I was serious. They might think I was serious when I say, like, this ship is toxic or you're toxic if you enjoy this ship. So then I was like, I don't know. I have the video on hold, or I have the script on hold, but I'm not sure if I'm ever going to make that video unless it's like an April Fool's Day sort of thing. Then I might. But I also have something else saved for like April Fool's Day. It was a Mineta video. Of course, it's a Mineta video, but it was gonna be funny. That's kind of like, I don't know. When it comes to ships, man, it's like a ship that's heading towards an iceberg, right? Like when you think about it, it's just. It's gonna sink, man. It's going to sink. Let's get into a topic. I can't talk about ships anymore. I want to do a tier list. Actually. Is there a My Hero Academia tier list? I can't even spell tier correctly. Let's see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a tier maker. All right, boys. We're whipping out the second screen. We're gonna do something fun right now, just cause I feel like it. let's wait, let me see. I hate myself. Wow, I thought my Discord was up. Sometimes my Discord has some very raunchy stuff on it and some very not safe for work stuff on it. But thank God my Discord was on the top. Let me just close out Discord. I'm already scared. Let's see. All right. Now we can do My Hero Academia character ranking. My Hero Academia characters. More characters. Villains. Ships. Why? Ship tier list manga edition. Oh. Harry Potter houses? What? Volume covers. All right, let's do husbandos. My favorite tier list. Okay, let's do volume covers right now, because I do have some very interesting, I want to say, takes on volume covers, but like, oh my goodness. Not the Woman King. They better be paying me for that, for this advertisement. I'm joking. Let's see. So the overhaul cover, right? Now, that's not where I'm gonna put it, but I feel like certain covers, and when it comes to My Hero Academia, right? I feel like certain covers that just have the character there, like off to the side, but then you have a character that's bigger and stuff like that. It just kind of looks out of place, especially when it comes to this overhaul cover, right? You have overhaul just looking really good, but then you have a Deku that kind of looks like he's just a sticker placed onto the cover. That's I'd say yeah, that's B. That's B or C. I'm gonna leave it at C right now until I change my mind. But that's pretty much it. Ooh, I'm pretty sure this is volume 10. This volume 10 cover is definitely S tier. I don't. That's a S plus. Yeah, it's definitely S plus. I love this volume cover. This one of my favorite volume covers for what was going down at the moment. The Camino arc. It was just insane. Obviously, this is another S plus right here. This is, I believe, volume 21. Uh, the Pro Hero arc. I just love this volume because the way it's so kind of symbolic of everything. You have Hawks there, you have the wings on fire behind Endeavor, and then you have Hawks there, and just anything with Hawks is amazing. It's like I love Hawks, but you know it's very dope because of what was happening in the Pro Hero arc, and that volume cover is just it was basically everything. Like that's my favorite volume cover. I think out of almost all of the volume covers, this I feel like there hasn't been a volume cover that has hit this dope or this crazily since I'd say since probably volume 10. Let me put that there because I think that deserves to be first. All right, volume 29. This is definitely a S tier one. I don't care what anybody says. This one was probably one of the dopest. I wouldn't say one of the. I don't know. I'm pretty much saying that for almost all the ones I just talked about right now, but this was a very cool one, and like I said, symbolic. Like I said before for the other one, this is symbolic of what was going on because I believe Bakugo got impaled around this time, and you know he was like kind of like redeeming himself at the moment, and like how back then he didn't take Deku's hand because it was like, bro, why are you reaching out to me? Like, I hate you. And then here he's actually accepting Deku and taking Deku's hand. This is a very emotional cover, if I'm going to say so. If anything, it should be here, but I feel like there's something that's kind of like holding it back that I'm not sure of. Maybe if I feel like maybe if the suit was damaged or like if he was damaged and stuff like that, like how he was during the war arc, it would probably be a lot better. I'd probably put it at S plus. Now, here we go with I don't know if this is volume 14 or not. 13. I don't know. No, definitely not 13. But this one's cool. I love the Star Wars reference in this one. I'd say I put it at A. I'm kind of getting some very big A vibes. Let me pull up the volume so that way I could get the volume numbers right. Of course, like it doesn't really. Oh, there you go. So let's see where this one actually lies at. Oh, I lied. This All Might one is actually volume 11. I'm a fool. But ooh, I was wrong about this one being volume. This is volume 14. This is 11. But these two I'm positive is 21 and 29. I'm a fool. I'm sorry. Sorry for that. Sorry for the misinformation. I'm only human. Please forgive me. But oh, this is volume 20. So this volume 21 definitely is an A1. I like the whole Star Wars vibe because that is basically a Star Wars homage. And, you know, with Deku being there, you know, holding it up like Luke Skywalker. If I could get the two pictures pulled up. Let's see, MHA volume 20. Pretty sure there's even a Star Wars comparison somewhere. I even think I made the comparison in a video at one point. Star Wars. You see right here. That's basically what it is. It's a homage to that Star Wars poster and stuff like that. I really like it. I do like it, but I do think like if it weren't the characters that were featured on there, it'd be a lot cooler because Labrava and Gentle aren't really necessarily like, you know, crazy characters or anything like that. I'm not really like shook if like when I see them, but I do like it. I do like the color. I do cover the cover, and I do like the homage as well. So very, very, I'd say very good and interesting covers. Now the next one, this is the official volume 10. This is officially volume 10. This is definitely a cover that I found that I do like because I'm just gonna put it right there for now. Because you know, at the time, this is like when Bakugo got kidnapped. You have Deku like shook, and then you have Shigaraki there shook, and it's actually I think that is a B. I placed it correctly. I think that definitely belongs there. It like I said, I enjoy a lot of these covers. I love all of them for the most part, but you know, obviously there's some that are better than others. Now this one, I don't even need to talk about that one. That one is fire. I don't care what anybody says. See what volume that is. Volume 25. This one goes hard. This is very... And just seeing these two side by side, they're very reminiscent of each other. With like the all purple background. Or just like solid colored background. And the character on the front. And it's kind of cool how they like contrast or compare and contrast, right? Because All Might is like fighting for his life, and then obviously Shigaraki here is fighting for his life too, but he's laughing it off instead of like being as serious as he is. So yeah, really like that cover. This one, I'm not a fan of this one. I think this is probably this is not one of my favorites at all. But let me see which one was this, right? Volume 28. I'm not a big fan of Volume 28's manga cover. I think it's good enough to be A, but it's not bad enough to be a B, and it's not great enough to be an S. I think it's just an A, like it's alright, right? Because this right here, this AB here is like, it's alright. And not so good. Fantastic. Ooh. Endeavor Agency arc. This is definitely an A. I like the setup here for volume 26. But, you know, it's just a regular degular cover. It's nothing too great. It's nothing too bad. Now, volume 2, S. This, I don't even need to look at a chart for this one. I already know that's volume 2. S rank. All you need to know, bro. All you need to know, just S. The first Bakugo versus Deku fight in the series. Even though it's not as crazy as the second one, it's still cool for setting up what's to come, right? Let's see. Joint training arc. I'd say it's an A. I say the joint training arc one is definitely a solid one. Not necessarily like... This is a volume 22. Yeah. It's good enough to be an A. I can't really say much about it. It's just good enough to be an A. This, I believe, is volume 9. Let's see. Wow. I don't know why I'm so off on this. Volume 7... S. There's something about Bakugo's rage that looks dope. I can't put a finger on it, but Bakugo raging out in, like, on a cover just looks amazing. And it reminds me of, like, that one panel where he's just like chained up and at the sports festival and is raging and stuff like that. Not even because I believe there's even another like drawing that Horikoshi did where he's also like in that same exact rage form, but you see it from the front. I kind of like it when Bakugo rages. I think when Bakugo rages, it just makes the cool factor go up. This one's not that great. This is like an earlier volume one. I think I even saw it earlier when I was like looking for. Oh, my stummy's acting up. This is volume 12. It's all right. It's all right. Yeah, it's all right. If I think it's all right, it's BA, not so good, fantastic, right? It's all right. It's definitely a B in my eyes. This one, like I said, Deku's a sticker on that one, bro. It's a sticker. This one, bro. This is volume 9, official volume 9. This is a dope cover art. Just because it, for those that might not know, this cover art pays homage to, I believe, the Ultimate Spider-Man comic when it's a Venom fighting Spider-Man, right? Deku is in the place of Spider-Man, and Muscular is Venom in that aspect. And if you look at the two side by side, so I'm gonna see if I can pull it up. Let me see. It's very cool. Ultimate. NHA. See? It's so dope. I love Horikoshi and his like creativeness in this. I know other like, because I know a lot of people hate when like sort of like mangakas and stuff like that do this, where they have, or like when they pay homage to something that was clearly already made before and they sort of make it look exactly kind of like how it was before. But I kind of like it when people do this. I like it when other authors sort of pay their homage and sort of is like, yo, I'm gonna do my own little version, my own little take on this. And I don't know, I love both cover arts. They both look very dope, right? But the My Hero Academia and the fact that I am a huge Spider-Man fan, and seeing this sort of homage, ooh, I almost said something crazy, homage, right? I almost said whore. And this homage is it was something that spoke volumes to me on how like Horikoshi is just a cool guy. He's just a nerd, right? He's a nerd. He enjoys things that I enjoy, and that's why I love Horikoshi and his creativeness when it comes to this. So let's go on to the next volume, which features Overhaul on it. This is volume 18, and I actually really like this one. I think this is an S+ cover art because it just looks stupid clean. Like, let's see if I can pull up a bigger, right? This looks dummy clean. Like, that is amazing. I don't think it gets any better than that, honestly. Like, it's a really good like depiction of, not depiction, but like of what's going. I say it all the time, of like what's going on. You know, Deku is fighting the big bad of that arc, and it's very cool to see that shown on a cover art. Because if you've noticed, in all of these cover arts, or in at least for the most part, right, there's not really a cover art of the hero fighting the villain. It's usually like the hero's on the cover art, and the villain's there, or the villain's in the background, or the villain's in the forefront, right? You don't really see the hero versus the villain that much, unless it's like, you know, the volume, what is it, 7, 8, or I already forgot which one that one was, right? This one, right? This one and this one are so far the only two that you really get to see someone fighting a villain. And I'm pretty sure there's another one out there that is like that, but you know, you don't really get it that much compared to like all the other ones that you see down here. You don't get it all that much. All right, we already did that. Get that so that way I could see these volumes. Now the next volume, volume 1, the OG, the one that started off this amazing series, the one that got me collecting Funko Pops, mangas, Blu-rays, and all of that shit. That's definitely a S plus. I don't care what anybody says. This cover art is perfect for looking at what you're gonna get into. It's great. It's honestly great. You got All Might in the back, the hero. You also have all the other heroes in the background behind All Might. And I know I just covered the whole freaking camera like a dummy, but you see the pro heroes all there. You see the main pro hero. Then you see a kid walking in the front, which is like, and he's looking like he's like, thinking about these heroes. so you can see that, hey, this is a story about a kid looking up to heroes who's going to become a pro hero and loves heroes. That's the way I at least see about it. Well, look at it that way, and that's the vibes I always got from it. Like it's basically telling you what you're going to be getting into, and I love it. Now, the next volume, which this is definitely Joint Training Arc, volume 23. I hate that I don't know any of these. I think it's because it's out of order. It kind of fries my brain, but it's whatever. Volume 23, it's alright. It's alright. It's nothing too crazy. It's just Shinso versus Deku. So nothing really too crazy. Nothing too spicy, right? Nothing really like to really worth talking about, if I'm gonna be completely honest. Volume 27. Wow, it has Hawks on it. It has Hawks on it. My goat, my dad, my father, my husband, right? Pause. That's the goat right there. Fighting all these twices. I remember when this cover art got released out to the public, and at the time, I love this cover art to the gods. Like this is my favorite, one of my favorite cover arts. Like I said, this one is definitely volume 21, right? Is definitely still one of the goats, but like my all-time favorite one, like that features superhero. I should split it up in categories now. The ones that feature superheroes, this is my favorite one. The ones that feature Deku, this is my favorite one. The one that features villains, we haven't gotten there yet. And I'm pretty sure you guys already know what I'm going to say or which one is going to be my favorite, just because of my profile picture. But you already know. Now, next is volume 15. That... did I even need to say anything? Like, honestly, like, let's be real here. That I don't know. There's something about that cover art that just screams ugly to me. Like, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I really don't. So, next, volume 6, Stain and Deku and Ida on the front. I'm kind of upset that this doesn't have a Todoroki on it, so it's definitely going to get a B for me. I love the way Stain looks. He kind of giving me that Venom vibe, right? The Spider-Man Venom vibe with his tongue. But the fact that it's just Ida and Deku back to back, and there's no Todoroki in there, is kind of like, Todoroki was a part of that fight, so he should be there, but he's not. Horikoshi just decided to exclude him from that. So now I'm gonna do this one because this is the first one that came up. Volume 8. This has a lot of things going on in the front, but I love how Momo is on the forefront, right? This is definitely an A for me, even though there's a lot of things going on and maybe not a lot of people like this one, but I actually really do like how Momo is on the cover of this. And I'm just going to bring up a bigger screen, right? Or can I actually open image in new tab? So I like how Momo is just there because for those of us that have read it, for those of us that know My Hero Academia and what was going on at the time, Momo was going through some stuff, right? She didn't have a lot of confidence in herself, and I love how in this cover she's not really confident, anyways, right? The confidence is not there, and you see that going on, and it plays into a very big role on what was happening in the time and how her and Todoroki's whole like thing together, like their whole training. I forgot what this was like. I know it was like a training type of thing, right? But I like how that's what's going on, and then right at the bottom you see Todoroki and yeah, Todoroki and Aizawa right next to her, like at the bottom, and which shows you kind of like what you're getting into. Basically, it shows you what you're all getting into this chapter, because you see All Might versus Deku and Bakugo. You see Mineta who was fighting Midnight, and then Froppy, who was going against Ectoplasm, yeah, because Snipe was going against Toru at the time. But I really like this one. I like the way they sort of emphasize that, you know, it, Bakugo and Deku's indifference when it comes to like All Might. The Froppy and Mineta one, it's not, you really didn't need them there, but Volume 27 is S tier for personal reasons. But you didn't really need them there, but it's cool that they were there because that's what was going on at the time. They were definitely featured in the in the manga, but and then I like how you see like the sort of like uneasiness with Aizawa and Todoroki and Momo. I really do like this one. I like it. It's not S tier, but it's definitely a really good one that shows off a lot. Now, next on the list is volume 24. That's all that needed to be said, honestly. That's all that needed to be said. Okay, let's be honest. This was one of the best arcs to ever come out of My Hero Academia, because it changed up a lot of things. It switched up the flow of what was going on, right? We were following the heroes for so long, and now we're getting a villain story, which perfect. What's that Kanye West sound? Perfect. That was so cringe. I'm sorry, but it's perfect, honestly. Now, volume 19 is definitely, I don't know, because I like the vibe of it, right? I love the whole entire. Let me pull this up. I love the vibe of this manga cover, and it switches things up from a lot of the other ones, because you don't really get a lot of like this softy cutesy sort of cover from My Hero Academia. Not all the time, right? But this was at a time when the gentle criminal stuff was going on, and that was sort of an arc that was kind of like not the craziest. It was a very timid, no, not timid, but softy arc. It wasn't like hardcore, like people were killing each other type of thing, or Overhaul's gonna kill this, might kill Deku and stuff like that. It was just like, hey, it's a prank, right? Like, it's a prank, bro. Why you so mad? Right? That's basically what the arc and the things around that arc was basically all about. So I really do like this one. I like the softiness to it. I like the pink. I actually am a big fan of the color pink. If you see me playing Call of Duty, a lot of my skins and stuff like that are pink, or even in GTA, right? I like pink cars. I don't know. I like the color. Sorry, but this is cool, and it's Jiro. Jiro's on the front. Jiro's badass. Don't care what nobody says. Jiro's a goat. So yeah, now we're gonna get into the Kirishima one. So this, I believe, is back here. Yep, volume 16. This is definitely an A rank one. I like it because the seriousness of stuff that was going on then, and how like My Hero Academia was kind of taking like this tonal shift around that time with Overhaul, and Kirishima and Red Riot, the debate, the debut of Red Riot and stuff like that. That I love it. Oh, I just realized this tier list isn't updated. Oh wow, that sucks. Can you add? No, you can't. But all right, so volume. Now we'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, let's see. The next one is volume 3. This one, yeah, it's not the greatest. It's not bad either. But it's still not here where it's all right. It's not like, it's not in the middle. It's definitely at least right here. Now this volume, the next volume, I gotta pull up a blown up picture of this. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of the cover arts. This is volume 13, by the way. I'm not a big fan of cover arts that kind of like make the characters look like stickers on the front. Like at least volume 3 had the courtesy of making Deku and the rest of the cast not look like stickers, like they actually look like they belong there. But I don't like the whole sticker vibe of this. Let me pull this up. And just so you know what I mean by stickers, like that white outline on the characters and stuff like that, and then a whole art in the background. I don't really like that much. It's not for me. Not for me. It's caca. not a big fan of those type of cover arts. Let's see. Next one is volume 4. I like it. That's as much as I can say about it, honestly. I just like it, right? Volume 5, definitely S. This is a solo character featured, right? Or a solo character focus, and it's focused on Todoroki. It's Todoroki, right? What more can you want from that? Now, the last one on the tier list, but not really the last one on the tier list, right, is volume 17. That's an S rank too. I like this volume because it's like Mirio. It's his time to shine. I'm gonna do it. What's good? like I like those kind of very dope sort of moments. Now, it sucks that this isn't quite updated. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think I can even add pictures on it. So we're going to continue on with the tier list. Except we're going to go with this, right? Now we stopped at volume 29. Volume 30, you already know, guys. You already know. This is the best one. This is my favorite. Can I just drag it in there? Damn it. This is my favorite one. I love the Dobby Dance volume cover for volume 30. This is my favorite villain cover in the entire series. I wish, and I know it would have been very spoilery, but I wish it was him with the white hair, but it's not. Sadly it's not. But it's fine. It's still cool. I'm hoping we do get a volume cover within the war arc, the all out war arc, where he does have the white hair. And just because I feel like the white hair just needs its own cover. I need that. I need that. So if I was to put volume 30 anywhere, it'd be in the S rank, and that's my favorite villain cover in the entire series. Where the hell is the page at? The page. Bring up the page. And now go to volume 31, S. It's so good. This one is so good. definitely one of the best cover arts in the entire series. And this is definitely an S for me. But I love the way like All Might has his school uniform on. Deku also has it on, but it's sort of fading in and fading out differently for the both of them, right? All Might's is more on, and Deku's costume is actually on the top while it's fading in, right? While it's fading out to his school uniform. So I like how they both are kind of like doing it differently. It looks more like All Might's is being put on him, while Deku is having his costume taken off to reveal his school uniform school uniform. And I like how like the light right here, the star or whatever, is very like, here, you're the next successor of One for All. I like it because I think at the time, this is when Deku was like in a coma and he was talking to the Vestiges and stuff like that, and we see All Might crying. Well, Vestige All Might crying. Definitely an S rank. Where the hell? Let's go to volume. Bro, what is this? Volume 32. Now, volume 32. A lot of people did not like this volume cover when it first came out. But I really like it. I really like how Nagant has her own, like, kind of like, I guess you could say, villain cover. It's cool. I like Nagant. A lot of people don't like it just because Nagant's lips look weird. All right, like right there. Like, if people just don't like it, I think they even said like she looked like a certain person, but I forgot who it was. Again, like I said, I'm not a fan of the whole sticker thing, but this would definitely be an A rank for me when it comes to this volume 32. Next on the chopping block, volume 33. This is dope. This is S rank. I love this volume cover so much. I just love the way freaking Ida's like, come back, me boy. And then Ochako's there crying, wanting Deku to come back. They all want Deku to come back, and then Deku's just there being a hardhead. It's a good volume cover. I know some people didn't like it. I know some people wanted her to actually get her own cover, like Ochako to get her own cover, but I'm fine with it, right? I think she will have her own cover within the war arc, honestly, if I'm going to be honest. Stars and Stripes. Some people didn't like this one either at the time. I actually really love it. I love it. This is a S plus for me. S plus. I love like the sexiness and like the badassery you get from this. It's really cool. Again, the reason why some people didn't like it is I guess they thought like she should have had more of an action-y pose, but I actually really like the way this is, because when you read the manga, like, or when you get into the volume, things are going down, right? So it's cool to like see her not full on in action mode, but some people did have a problem because I guess people are like, oh, Horikoshi kind of has a problem when it comes to like doing the cover arts and having the women's faces in it, even though like, he has put Ochako on a cover art before and she looks perfectly fine, but they're like, oh, her lips look weird, her nose and stuff like that. I think she looks fine. I think it looks really, really good, but that's just me. This is a little bit controversial. Volume 35. This one, I like it. I like it a lot, actually. But this is also not new, right? It's not something new that we've seen, because this was a cover art for, I believe, the Shonen Jump magazine, and Horikoshi just reused it again. Like, he did make some tweaks. He did like move things around and like redrew some parts of it, but it was basically the same exact cover art, or the magazine cover art, and put onto the manga. and a lot of people just didn't like that. They wanted something new. They wanted something that they haven't seen before, and I understand that. But this is a dope cover art, bro. This is like one of the. This is definitely S plus. Like this is amazing. And that's it. Yeah, that's it. That's all there is. So S plus, S plus, A. No, S, A, S, S plus plus right here. I'm gonna put in a new one. S plus plus. That's basically what it is. But yeah, that's basically kind of like my tier list for it. And obviously for volumes 29 and down, these are kind of like what I think about those volumes. And yes, even though it's S rank, I do have like the little board in the back right there that yeah, I like I said, I really like it. I really like it. Oh, my fault. I really like that one. But yeah, I think I'm gonna call the stream there. We did do a fun little activity towards the end, and we did talk about extra ships and stuff like that, and we did do the whole comic book versus manga debate. But you know, I think it's time to end it. I'm gonna read the last chats because I know I just did the tier list and stuff like that, and some of you did chat it up in there. Someone said Nero said it's fine. The Dark Deku volume with Ida and Uraka deserves to be a or higher. Nah, I like that. That's definitely a S to me. Representation? Question mark? I'm not sure I quite understand that one, Giovanni, but it'd be like that. Representation. Weekly Crocs volume 27 is S tier for personal reasons. Most definitely, man. I need that Hawks. Nero, my husband. Hey, yo. Hey, yo, it be like that, man. Hawks is one. Yeah, he's handsome as fuck. But, yeah, that's all the chats that we got in today. Well, just got. So, but yeah, thank you guys for all stopping by the stream. It was fun. I enjoyed myself. I didn't even drink one water. I forgot to bring a water to me, so my throat is killing me right now. The spit isn't doing enough. I know that sounded gross, but like you know what I mean. The word you were looking for on the Deku versus Overhaul cover. Haha. Oh yeah. Thank you. I be struggling with words. I'm not a great speaker. When it comes like without scripts and stuff like that. That's why I script a lot of my videos, because if I was to do that off the dome, no, I would mess up. I would stutter 20 times more than I stutter on a stream. Because at least with a stream, I kind of like know where I'm going with it and stuff like that. I'm trying to get better. That's why I stream a lot more now, because I'm trying to get better with more of like just straight up talking to everybody and getting my ideas and flowing my ideas perfectly out of my mouth. But sometimes I fumble the bag a lot, like how I couldn't get representation. But yeah. I feel like I was saying something, but I forgot. But yeah, anyways, this is the end of the stream. Thank you everybody for stopping by. I love you all. Oh yeah, I didn't have water or something like that, right? I'm thirsty. I'm dying. Thank you all for coming by. I'm going to be working on videos right now. Like, as soon as the stream's over, I'm going to be working on the video, the Giganto Machia video, or Machia, the Giganto Machia video, right? And then I'm going to be doing the newscaster thing. I forgot his name, but when I look into it, I'll remember. I'm gonna do the newscaster video, and I'm gonna get more season 6 stuff done. So a lot of the other stuff, like the character analysis videos, might get put on a little bit of a hold because of season 6, but I still will be working on those. I didn't forget. I know I'm very slow when it comes to these things, but I have a lot going on sometimes, and I will get that done. So you know what? Thanks for all stopping by, and I'll see you guys in the next stream. Bye, guys.